Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, December 13th, 2021, and I'm here with my weekly cross-stitching update. I have Smokey in the room, but I'm not sure if she'll come join us or not. I'm excited. I have things to share and some planning thoughts. I tend to plan and change my plans, and like every video is something different. So who knows what I'll actually end up doing in 2022, but it's fun to play around, right? So first off, I'll do my travel stitching like I do. Let's see, my temperature typography it's coming along. This is a temperature design you can find in my Etsy shop. There she is. And you do one little chunk of each of the letters every day, and I'll be doing the butterflies next year. She's always entertaining. Okay, so here is where I am now on temperature typography. What you doing, Smokey? This is on 28 count mystery light blue even weave 1/1 full crosses, and I did get to some purple. Yay! It's got cooler this week, so we had some dark blues, and this purple was 55, a high of 55. It was our third coolest color, so that's exciting to see some purples show up down here to mimic the cooler weather up here. So proof that there are seasons in Southern California. They're just not technically, they're not classic seasons with snow and the whole deal. But the temperatures do rise and fall throughout the course of the year. And then my exciting travel stitching that I've been working on is the Brooks Books Advent Animals. And I need to put my finished ones in like a separate bag, I think. But I got Peter Polar Bear finished. Really, I think the first day I worked on it, that Monday afternoon, I finished it. Because I just had some white down here to finish, and then the back stitching on his paws, and then it was done. So, yay! This is 18 count light blue Ada by Zweigart, and 2 strands for all the stitching, and then the back stitching occasionally is 1 strand. It varies. The back stitching is 1 or 2. They call for these call for some backstitched border, which is 3 strands, but I'm not doing the borders because of the way I'll be finishing them. So there's number 2. Number 1 was already finished. And then I got a good chunk done on number 3, which is Mary Mouse. And here's where she is. This is a really hard crease right in here, but hopefully in person you can't see it quite that much, so hopefully it won't be a big deal. But I got almost all of Mary Mouse finished. There's still some green. Her ballet shoes, and there's holly on the candy cane is in green, and then there's some more snow. She has a crown and some snowflakes, and the snow on the bottom is all in white. And then there's a little bit of backstitching as well that I haven't done yet. So her whiskers, there's some backstitching on her tutu, and the strings on her ballet shoes, and the holly has some backstitching. So there is a little bit more to do, but I should be able to get this done this week. And after that, I won't have as much travel stitching because the kids will be home from school. But I did think of a good idea for the R in the acrostic for Magazine Monthly Challenge. I was thinking of maybe working on Rose by Heaven and Earth Designs, which is a new pattern, but I don't have the fabric yet, and I'm not sure when it's going to come in. So instead of planning on that, I was thinking I could do, there's a Remy Rabbit in here. So let me see if I can find him. All right, there's 2 here that are ours. There's the Rascal Raccoon And there's also Remy Rabbit. And I think I would probably work on Remy Rabbit. It looks a little bit more Christmassy with the stocking and everything. So assuming I'll finish Mary Mouse this week, if I have any more extra time this year for travel stitching or just some easy stitching in front of the TV or something, I'll work on Remy Rabbit to go with the R in the magazine monthly challenge, rather than go on to, let's see, make sure this is back, rather than go on to the next one in here, which is number 4, Duncan Dog. So I'm gonna do, I think I'll do Remy Rabbit because I think that would be fun to do the letter according to the acrostic. So let's show the beginning of Remy Rabbit, just in case I get to it this week. Actually, I should, I would imagine. So here's number 18, the start of, yeah, it is down here. It's backwards in the camera, so it was throwing me for a second. But there's, number 18, you got the ears of the bunny and his cheeks maybe, and then the number 18, that was the pale pink color is the color that I chose to do to start it a couple summers ago. So there's the start of that one. So that's exciting. These are really fun to work on. They go pretty quick, which is exciting for me since I tend to have enormous projects most of the time. So it's fun to have some quick things to work on. So I will continue to finish up Mary Mouse this week and hopefully get a start on Remy Rabbit. It'd be fun to even finish Remy Rabbit this year just to have a few more finishes. All right, I also worked on my ice crystal, which is my Mill Hill project for Mill Hill Monday and Merry Mill Hill right now. And I've been working on this on Mondays. This past Monday, I was working on the white cross stitches and I only got one length of thread in, which is about half the white cross stitches. But then the following day on Tuesday, I was talking with my sister and I figured this might be a good time to pull this out and do the rest of the white cross stitches because I really wanted to get like all that color done before I moved on so I can get to beading it and hopefully get it up on my tree while it's still Christmas. So here is where this is with all the white cross stitches finished. So now all of the cross stitching is finished. The medium blue, the light blue, and the white. So this is on just the called for perforated paper, which is a dark blue, and all the cross stitching is done. So starting today, I get to work on beading. So it has all the beads. There's a good amount of beads in it. And so I'm a lot of bugle beads even. So I've never done bugle beads on a Mill Hill. I don't even know if I've done any on a Mirabilia. I know some Mirabilias have bugle beads, but I don't know if I've done any. So that'll be kind of a new experience for me. So anyways, that's gonna get started today, hopefully. And I don't know how long that's gonna take. So I guess we'll see. Hopefully at least half the beads, maybe, I could get on today. I had to. I know some of you like Smokey, so I figured if she's in the background, that's just really fun. So let's see. I worked a little bit on Knitting Woman, not much. This week turned out to be busier than I expected. I was thinking it was going to be kind of a quieter week finally after all the hullabaloo, but it was not. So I didn't get to this until this weekend, but I did kind of force myself to get back to it because once I get out of the groove, it's hard to just jump back on the train. Working on it every day, it becomes a habit, but when I stop, it's hard to get on and start the habit again. So this weekend I'm like, no, I need to just do it, get back on the horse, and if I want to get this done next November. So I got this done, or got this out again on Saturday and Sunday for a few stitches. Saturday was like one color, one string, and it was about almost 60 stitches, I think. I'm hoping to have 50 a day. I probably need more now because I haven't been working on it as much as I've wanted to, but some days I go over. There was a day last week I did like 100. So it depends on how long the string is, and it depends on how confetti, how much I have to drag my thread, or if it's just a solid chunk in one area. So Sunday I only got like 24 stitches maybe, but I had 2 or 3 colors. So just because they were small amounts of colors. So here is where this is at, and you may not be able to see the difference because there's just a little bit of difference, but this is 22 count Aida, 2/1 half stitches. And I've picked out there's a darker shade in here that went along in the edge here a little bit. And that's the one I did most of. And then I also did a little bit down here. The edge got filled in here, and there's like a couple stitches in here. So I am doing my typewriter method, top down, left to right, picking symbols, and then working them till the string runs out. So tiny bit of progress, but hopefully this week I can get back into this and work on it every day except for Mill Hill Monday. So that's the plan. She's sleeping. Her bath is over and now it's time for a nap. All right, so my main stitching this week was trying to finish Letter L Fairy by Nora Corbett. And I'm stitching one of these for each of my nieces. I've already gifted one. I have a second one finished, and this is the third one. This one and the second one will be gifted this coming summer. 2 of my nieces will be graduating. So I've done a color conversion and I finished it. If you've seen this maybe on Instagram, you've seen that I finished it. Yeah, it isn't here. Okay. Really happy with how this turned out, and I'm excited to see the before and after beads, because the beads really added a lot. So this is on the 32 count water lily linen, which is called for, and I'm doing the same fabric for all of them. I figure it's a nice, pretty neutral for all of these, no matter what colors they end up being. And I like how they are to stitch on. Even though they're kind of see-through, they're, like you can see over here, it's pretty see-through, but it's because it's stiff, the stitches lay nice for me because I stitch in hand, and the beads have more room, which is nice too, because it's not shrunk up by being hand-dyed or something. So, and these are little butterfly charms. They're called for to be in this spot. There's 2 in a package, and these 2 were meant to be a lighter butterfly, which is sold out or no longer being manufactured or something. So I just got 2 packs of the same kind. One is looks bluer than the other. One has more green, so I alternated which blue green kind of thing. But they were in the same pack, and I think they turned out pretty cute. I did notice one thing when I was all done, actually, is this butterfly. This is charted to be like about this distance from her hand. And in the model, it goes all the way to her hand. So I thought that was interesting. I think I like it better this way, because she's like basically waiting for a butterfly to land on her hand. It's kind of my thoughts on that. So I like to bead with DMC thread, and I picked DMC 524, matches this water lily witchel perfectly, in my opinion. It's really the same color. So I just pick up any of the beads and use it with the same thread as I was going around. So then I got to the butterflies and realized there's no hole in these butterflies. And I looked, and the pattern does recommend you put the beads on with invisible thread. So likely they went over the top of the butterfly with invisible thread. I think I might have some invisible thread. I don't like to use it. And I want these butterflies to be secure. So if I were to come in only on the ends of these with invisible thread, it probably would fall out and like work itself loose, because invisible thread is not good at staying put. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use the thread. So you can see I tacked it over like where the body is with two strings. It's not really focusing on it very well, but with 2 strings on either side of the little body. And you can't really tell that it's there. It doesn't take away that much from the prettiness of it. So I think it's fine. And it was easy, and I know they're not going to fall off. So there you go. There's my finish. And I had done a color conversion. So all the threads are just for my stash. This purpley one is slightly purplier than the one in the picture, but it's close. But then I made her pink instead of like teal. So that's like the main difference that I did. And the beads are all from stash. They're not what's called for. And except for the butterflies, which are half what's called for. And so I'm excited. I'll be framing those two together. Not together, but at the same time, probably later into next year when I'm closer to gifting them. And going forward, I thought I'd pull this out to show you. This will be my next one. This is the letter F. There's a lot more going on in this one. Lots of curly cues and a little bit more stitching. Because like these fronds up here. So this will be fun. This one is for a niece who loves blue. So this one is already kind of bluish, but it has a decent amount of green in it too. So I might blue it up a little bit more when I work on my conversion, like make her dress a little more blue and just make sure that the colors I pick blend well with more on the blue side than the green side. So, and I have my water lily linen ready to go. So I will probably start that in January so that I can have the whole year to work on that. She graduates the following year, so I'll have a year and a half to work on hers. But the year after that, there will be another 2 nieces graduating the same year. So I need to go fast, as fast as possible actually. Because I think like this one I have a year and a half, but then I'll have, because if I only do letter F next year, then I'll have a year and a half to do 2. So, and I'll have to do like, 9 months each or something. So we'll see. The letter F is more complicated. The next 2 I'll need to do are E and S. So the S is fairly simple. The E was a little bit bigger, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking of going back to my previous plans of working on my family pieces once a month for 1 or 2 days, just because I miss them. They're not getting any progress. And especially with these fairies, for example, they do have deadlines. So I want to make sure I'm making progress regularly on them. So you'll hear more about plans later, but that's something I want to do, is to make sure I keep up on my family pieces more regularly. Once I finished that, I was able to go on to my personal Christmas plans. And this is the Heirloom Nativity Sampler by the Victoria Sampler. And I've been working on this for a few years. So this year, my goal is to finish the Wise Man scene and these subsequent bands underneath it. And then I'll do the manger scene and the Hardanger next year. Never done Hardanger before, so that'll be a new experience. And hopefully I don't ruin it. Kind of scary to put that at the end, where if you screw it up, the entire project is all gone. Okay, no pressure, but I think it'll be fine. I'll just follow the instructions and hope for the best. So that's the plan, and I've been really enjoying working on this. It's been fun to work on this again. Once I've gotten into it, it's been a joy, and lots of colors, so it's exciting. So here is all of it. This is on 32 count. Here's my before and after. 32 count silver linen by MCG Textiles. Formerly available in craft stores, but I think I bought this piece on eBay or something because I knew it was the perfect color. So a decent amount of stitching. I worked on this basically, I think, Saturday and Sunday for my focus stitching, and I really had fun working on all the different colors. And as you'll see, there's a little bird up on the top of the tree, there's a squirrel down here, and then I've had various patches of the wise men and the harnesses and things on the camels done now. So I'm working on this gray color, so he has more gray down this side, and then I can work on some more colors. Did a little bit of the snowflakes at the beginning too. So all the snowflakes are done. The rest of the snow is just down on the bottom. So there was some green in this tree that was the same as his green, and there's more, a different color green down on the bottom, like up there. So it's been fun. So ideally, I will finish this goal this week. We shall see, because it's been busy. I'll be doing a lot of Christmas baking this week and various things. So this time of year, you know, life happens. So I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't get to this next piece, but ideally I will get to this before I see you again. So we'll see. My new start for Christmas, the Christmas Elf Fairy by Mirabilia. This feels more like a Nora Corbett because it's small, but this is one that came as a kit with all the things. And I got it as a pass-a-stash from Terry Lee Crafts, just the pattern. So I'm kitting it up myself with this raw silver linen by the Fat Quarter Shop. And I will need to go through and figure out what I'm going to stitch it with, because it calls for a bunch of crescent colors, which is Classic Colorworks. So I'll have to see if I have any of these and then pull the rest from my stash. I am not planning to buy them. So same with the letter fairies. I'm just going to figure out what I have. There's some beads and Krynic and white whisper thread, which I have. So I'll just make it work. I'm excited to start her and see how much I can get done. So I don't think I'll finish her this year. She's a little too big for that, but it'll be fun to get her started. Probably a center start and work my way to her head. That's kind of what I do with my fancy ladies. So we'll see if I get to start that this week. Hopefully. This is 32 count Belfast in raw silver. So I'm excited to work with that fabric too. I don't think I've used, I'm trying to remember because I stitched a Nora Corbett reindeer for a customer, and I can't remember if it was opalescent or not. It was dwarf, picture this plus dwarf, but I don't remember if it was opalescent or just regular. So if it was, I have used opalescent fabric before, or picture this plus calls it crystal fabric, but it might have been. I think I'll be okay. I'm a little nervous because I have heard a lot of people have struggle seeing the holes on sparkly fabric. But so far my eyes are holding out. I do wear contacts. I don't have perfect vision, but so far I can see fine to cross stitch. So I'll enjoy it while I can. I think that's all I worked on. So this coming week, I will keep working on my Advent animals for travel stitching. I'll try to get some beading done on my Mill Hill and hopefully do a little bit on my Knitting Woman every day, as well as work on the heirloom Nativity sampler and hopefully start Christmas Elf Fairy by the end of the week. So that's my plans for this week. I did a little bit of thinking with plans for 2022, and I keep going back and forth, and I think the problem is I have too many projects, so it's hard to come up with a solution for keeping things spontaneous and structured at the same time while trying to get attention to 85 plus projects, which is pretty much impossible. So you can see my dilemma. And I enjoy the planning process. I don't always follow through, so I'm trying to be realistic with what I commit to. And I am feeling the tug a little bit for those weekly challenge prompts that have you, ask you to work on specific things. So I might try to play with that in January to see if that's gonna scratch that itch a little bit. I talked last week about wanting to do full coverage fanatics, a couple of challenges in there. I really hesitate about the biking around Germany one because I don't think I'll keep up on it. Keeping track of those smaller chunks of stitching, I think I'll just give up too quickly, probably a week into January. knowing myself. So I think I'm going to scrap that. And I may also scrap the eras, this one, which is a non-counting one, because in lieu of something else. And I'm thinking I may only do, in Full Coverage Fanatics, I may only do their pop-up challenges, like if they have a weekend. They're going to have a weekend scavenger hunt challenge, I think, where it's going to be one weekend a month. They'll pick one item, and you have to find that item in your project and then work on that project, I think is how it's going to be. I will probably try to do those because I think that would be fun. But beyond that, I don't know that I'm going to do any of the other ones in Full Coverage Fanatics, just because I tend to fall off the wagon with those challenges. It's just the way it is. So instead, I'm thinking I think this is going to happen, at least half of it, of doing WIPGO for 2022. And I never wanted to do WIPGO before. WIPGO is a bingo challenge that's been created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on Flosstube. She started it herself several years back, and enough people wanted to join her that she eventually created a Facebook group, and now a lot of people are doing it, and I think she has some downloadable forms in her Facebook group if you're interested in that. I'll probably have to go over there and join the group. I haven't yet. But I thought, I haven't wanted to do it before because I never wanted to be told what to work on in a specific month, because what if I wasn't in the mood or if I had another plan that month? But this year I'm thinking of kind of scrapping the general month-long things like Stitch Mania or Joan Elliott July or even Arbitrary August, which is my own brainchild. I'm thinking of not doing those and just kind of keeping things more open for a little bit more random stitching and stitch what you want when you want, that kind of thing. So what I was thinking for WIPGO is having 2 different boards, one with full coverage and one with fancy ladies, because those are things that I sometimes not really avoid, but they get neglected on occasion because I'm focusing on other things. So if I have 2 projects on each board chosen, then I'll have those to focus on that month. And I think it'll be fun to have it a little bit random at this point. We'll see if I stick to it. But so this morning I went through and I created 2 little boards. They're the same size as a page in my planner that I'm going to be doing. This is the Lori Holt Be in My Bonnet planner, and in the back there's note papers. So I figured the first spread of notes I'm going to put, you know, the full coverage one on one side and the fancy lady one on the other side. I'll attach them with stickers or some such thing. I haven't done anything with this yet. I think that's a project for the week after Christmas when things are kind of slower. So what I did is I used the random number generator to pick where they are. So I had them all listed alphabetically and picked the numbers, and as that just alphabetically 1, 2, 3, 4, as that number got chosen on the random number generator, that project went in the next spot, and then I just kind of filled in the spots. I am having a free space on both of these. This one, I have 25 full coverage projects. Knitting Woman is going to get regular progress throughout the year, so that is not on here. So then there's 24 spaces with a free space. The free space will be whatever I'm feeling like. And the month that she draws a free space, she draws 3 numbers, and I will write in the numbers in these squares with some, you know, colorful pens later too, once they're in my book. So that's coming. But once I may not do the free space, so I just stick with 2 every month. And down here on my fancy lady project board, this is mostly fancy ladies like Joan Elliott, Mirabilia, Lavender and Lace, Nora Corbett, but I've also included a few fancy lady adjacent projects in order to fill out the 24 projects. So I have Time for Myself, which is a soda stitch. It has a cute little girl in the middle, and Gracious Era is one I started with Terry Lee Crafts. It's a dimensions kit, but it has a bunch of elegant Ladies and Gentlemen on a Christmas Street. So that one, I like it because of the fancy dresses. So I think that counts. Fantasy Triptych by Teresa Winsler has a knight and a maiden, and she's got a fancy dress. So that kind of works. What was the other one? Daisy Girl. It's a leisure arts chart, but it's got a little girl with a cute little dress. Antique Shoe Collection is kind of a stretch, but I needed one more. And that one is my oldest WIP too. So if it's on here, I'll make sure I get to it. And this one has ribbons and embellishments and pretty shoes. So it's close. It's fancy lady adjacent. So all the other ones are typical, you know, Mirabilias. These are all WIPs. As of, I have Christmas Elf Fairy in here. So technically it's not a WIP right now, but by the new year it will be. I didn't want any new starts on here because I would ideally like to work on these projects in the month they are chosen. Jessie Marie picks the numbers like right before the month starts, so you know how to plan. And I'd like to work on them that month. There's an option where you can pick a year-long goal, so once it's called, you have the rest of the year to finish it, and that's fine. But for me, I think I want to do it in the month it's chosen. And so I am planning at least one new start that's full coverage and one new start that's a fancy lady Mirabilia next year, but not till a specific month with a friend. So I didn't want to get chosen in a different month and then, you know, have to not work on it until later and then have too much to do. I don't know. I'll still have my like new start days whenever I'm going to it above and beyond this. So whenever I start that, like in April, I'm planning to start the library by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'll do the 2 WIPGO pieces plus a little bit on the library. So my goals on the full coverage pieces, I'm thinking realistically, I should probably pick 500 stitches each, but I feel like pushing myself a little bit and doing 1,000 stitches because I want them all to see progress. So to start seeing the pictures develop more. And I think if I give them 3 or 4 days, I probably could get 1,000 stitches. So I'm hoping that will work. I think I'll start with 1,000 stitches goal on each project. And then if for some reason that seems entirely not attainable, I will back off and choose 500 for the rest of the year. So I'm hoping for 1,000. I think that would be nice. And for these ladies, I'm thinking like 3 days, maybe 2 or 3 days, depending on the whatever else I have planned that month, but I'm hoping maybe 3 days on when these are called. So that'll give them some time and attention, and I don't like counting my stitches unless they're in Pattern Keeper, which I don't think any of these fancy ladies are in Pattern Keeper, so maybe one. I think the Celtic ladies are in there because I don't think I'll be working on them as regularly. I didn't put in Colors of the Seasons too, which is my, it has the 4 little girls in the dresses that I just finished the autumn quadrant. I kind of got monogamous on that and went to town. Those are cute. They're probably in the fancy lady category, but I want to work on them more often. I think I'm going to like binge them every quarter and get that done this coming year. So I'll do winter probably in January and just finish winter. And then in March, I'll finish spring, and maybe June or July, I'll finish summer, and then it will be done. So I didn't want that on the bingo board because it's a more unique one. But the Celtic ladies collage that I'm doing, I will probably just work wherever on it from here on out. So I put that on the collage, on the bingo board. So that's my plan. We'll see. So every month she calls 2 numbers. So I'll have 2 numbers on both boards, 4 projects represented with WIPGO, which will probably take up about half the month, so that the other half will be family pieces, focus pieces, or like regular, you know, sampler of stitches that I'll be working on, any new starts that I might do, or sals with friends. You know, I think there'll still be enough room to wiggle and maybe do some challenges, have room to pull in other projects if I'm working on challenges in Facebook groups. So that's the idea. Let me know if I'm crazy. But I thought I would jump on the bandwagon and see how I like it. So there's no harm in trying, right? So with that, I think that's everything I have for you today. One last look at Sleeping Smokey. Sweet kitty. And I hope you have a wonderful week and enjoy your December, and happy stitching. Bye.